that one day the whole world will know and fear. Ivar the Boneless.
At number 10, we have King Cnut the Great, a man whose reign was as brutal as it was legendary.
You are here because you are Vikings!
Known for his conquests in England, Denmark, Norway, and parts of Sweden, Cnut was a force to be reckoned with. His brutality was matched only by his political genius. He ruled with an iron fist, imposing harsh laws and using merciless tactics to control his kingdom. But the shocking twist? Despite his brutal reign, Cnut was revered as a wise and just ruler by his people, proving that even the most brutal of Vikings could be seen as leaders. Number 9 on our list is Erik the Red, the Viking explorer who gave Greenland its name. A man whose violent temper and ruthless nature earned him a reputation that could chill the bravest hearts.
Long live the king.
Exiled from Iceland for murder, Erik's brutal conquest of Greenland left a lasting legacy of fear. His most shocking act? His establishment of the first Viking settlements in Greenland, not through diplomacy or trade, but by overpowering any opposition with sheer force. Despite his violent ways, Erik's son, Leif Erikson, would go on to discover North America, showing that even the most brutal of Viking ancestors could lay the foundation for a new world. At number 8, we have Jarl Borg, one of the most treacherous and bloodthirsty Vikings in history. Known for his power struggle with Ragnar, Jarl Borg's raids were marked by utter brutality.
Keep the shield wall!
He terrorized his enemies, showing no mercy. His most shocking act? The betrayal of Ragnar, leading to his own eventual death. Jarl Borg was captured by Ragnar, and his brutal end came when Ragnar had him executed in one of the most horrific ways imaginable. Borg's death was a symbol of the Vikings' brutal code of revenge, a reminder that no betrayal goes unpunished. Number 7 introduces us to Rollo, a man whose name became synonymous with fear in France. Rollo's brutal raids along the Seine River were legendary, and he was so feared that King Charles the Simple was forced to make him the Duke of Normandy to avoid further destruction. Rollo's story is not just about conquest. It's about survival and dominance in a brutal world. Rollo, after all his chaos, became a ruler and changed history, becoming one of the ancestors of the English royal family. Number 6 brings us to Floki the boat builder, the eccentric, wild, and absolutely brutal boat builder of Ragnar's crew. Known for his loyalty and unique approach to warfare, Floki was a master of cunning and brutality. His raids were not just about swords and shields, but about psychological warfare. He would trick his enemies into believing they were facing a force far more powerful than they were. But what truly made him brutal was his unpredictability. Floki, who seemed to thrive on chaos, was eventually consumed by it, with his own mind unraveling in a tragic spiral that mirrored the madness of the Viking world. Next, we have Bjorn Ironside, the son of Ragnar Lothbrok, a Viking who lived up to his legendary bloodline. Known for his immense strength and leadership, Bjorn's raids were among the most brutal, often leaving a trail of destruction across the Mediterranean. But his true power came from his ability to unite warring factions under one banner. His most terrifying campaign? The conquest of the Mediterranean, where he and his warriors wreaked havoc on everything in their path. Despite all his victories, Bjorn's end came not from a blade, but from betrayal and politics. The cold, calculated nature of Viking politics, proved to be more lethal than any sword. Number 4 brings us to a fierce shield-maiden who defied every expectation, Lagertha. Often portrayed as Ragnar's wife, Lagertha's true legacy goes beyond her marriage. She was a warrior in her own right, a woman who led men into battle and fought with the ferocity of the fiercest Viking chieftains. Her most brutal act? Her leadership in the battle against the forces of King Rollo, where she led an army to defend her people. After a lifetime of fighting and ruling, Lagertha met her end in a tragic way. Not in battle, but by the hands of a former ally, a testament to the treachery that ran deep in Viking culture. At number 3, we have the first king of Norway, Harald Fairhair, a warrior king who united Norway through bloodshed and conquest. Harald's reign was marked by an insatiable hunger for power, where he killed rivals, burned villages, and crushed any opposition. His most brutal act? The mass slaughter of his enemies in a bid to solidify his kingdom. Harald's ruthless ambition ultimately led to his downfall. He was betrayed, proving that no one is invincible, not even the most brutal Viking king. At number 2, the man whose name echoes through every Viking tale, Ragnar Lothbrok.
Who wants to be king?
Known for his cunning, bravery, and brutal campaigns, Ragnar was not just a warrior, but a king and a legend. His raids on England and France were so brutal that they inspired terror across Europe. But what truly made Ragnar unforgettable wasn't just his bloody conquests. It was his deep connection to his sons, many of whom would follow his footsteps, carrying on his reign of violence and war. Ragnar's death was just as shocking and brutal as his life. Thrown into a pit of snakes by King Aella, Ragnar's final moments were a mixture of agony and defiance, a perfect end for a man who lived for war. At number 1, the most ruthless Viking of all, Ivar the Boneless. Born with a mysterious condition that left his legs unable to function, Ivar didn't let his disability define him. Instead, he became a ruthless and brilliant strategist, feared by all who faced him. His most notorious act was the invasion of England, where he commanded the great heathen army, a force so brutal it left entire kingdoms in ruins. Ivar's cruelty knew no bounds, and his terror was unmatched. Despite his horrific campaigns, Ivar's death was just as mysterious and tragic as his life. With rumors suggesting he died in agony, yet still carried his fearsome legacy to the end. These were the Vikings who shaped history through their brutal conquests, unyielding courage, and uncompromising nature. From blood-soaked battles to political schemes, their names have become synonymous with terror and power. But in the end, they were just men, each with their own flaws, ambitions, and shocking twists that would shape the world forever. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of Viking brutality, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories from history's most fierce warriors. What do you think? Who's the most brutal Viking in your opinion?